Welcome everyone to Forward, the podcast of the Forward Thinking Chiropractic Alliance. Our guest, as you heard in the introduction, is Darcy Sullivan. Your company name has also changed over time, so I keep just wanting to call it Propel Your Marketing, but it's like Propel Your Company now.
Well, it's the website has always been Propel Your Company, so it gets a little confusing. The actual name of the company is Propel Marketing and Design.
Why did you do that?
You know
Why are you
why?
confusing me?
Because when I signed up for the website, the only option available at the time was slightly different than the name of the company that I could file legally. So it was one of those
Gotcha. Gotcha.
situations. Yeah.
Um, you don't just work with chiropractors, but I do want to kind of get an idea of what kind of ways do you love working with Like, how are we special in your heart?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, one, I love what you guys do, obviously. Find it so fascinating. And I hate to say that certain groups of people have certain personalities, but amazing personalities with the people that I get to deal with day in and day out. So I find that really what kind of drew me to this group.
Yeah, well, we love to hear. We love it when people say great things about us. This is a little internal chiropractic ego joke. Um, yeah, chiropractors are notorious people pleasers, right? And they just always the redheaded stepchild of the healthcare industry, you know, is like, please say something nice about me. Please say you like me. But and I joke at that tongue in cheek because I think if we all just sort of did our thing and we did a good job, it really doesn't matter what your title is or what you're doing. If you're a trustworthy professional, you do good work, it all comes out in the wash. Like there's people that aren't going to like you no matter what you do.
Right.
And there are people that absolutely love you and love what you do, and you might not hear from them enough, and that's okay.
Sure.
I'm sure in the business world that happens with people who are consultants and coaches and all that as well too. So like why aren't you actually well, in chiropractic it's like, well, if you're such a good coach, why aren't you practicing? Is always the what would you call it? The pejorative towards somebody who's a coach. And it's like, well, that's a great question, but how about maybe they did do quite a bit of the street work for quite a long time and they got tired. Or they
Right.
got different specialties, you know? And that's what a profession is. A profession is not just all of us doing the same thing all the time, but everybody within the profession having an avenue that's not a vertical silo, that we have different ways of doing things. Um, so when we have different ways of doing things, we need to consult different types of professionals to understand their expertise or their approach. And that's why I love talking to folks like you. Like you've got a thing that if somebody asked me for all the stuff we're going to talk about today, like my brain, darn it, I was on a good one and my brain just went off. If, SEO advice and things like that, like don't come to me, right? And if you had needed advice about cardiothoracic surgery, don't come to me. But it's like we need to incorporate, if we're good professionals, the best of the game in what they're in these other professionals, what they're the best at, network with them appropriately and utilize them. Like, don't come to a chiropractor for networking, for SEO advice. Let's go to the
Right.
experts, right? Um, so with that being said, an SEO for some people can be a dry topic in the chiropractic world because they really just want to help people and they want people to tell them that they love them. So, in what ways can you sort of foreshadow how exciting this topic could be for them?
Wow. I'll tell you, I think I get so excited about this topic. So that's, I'm
Yeah.
always go, go, go for it. I think for the people that just want to help people, when you're doing SEO right, you're helping your target audience because you're not only helping your target audience, but you're helping Google know, like, and trust you to want to recommend you to all of these people. So it's almost what would you say to potential patients? You want to say that on your website, on your Google business profile listing, in a way that showcases how you're unique and how your business stands out from other businesses.
Let's do it this way. That was a great answer, by the way. Let's do it this way. We have young chiropractors that have no idea what they should be doing when it comes to their website, when it comes to Google, when it comes to search engine optimization. I'm going to play the uninformed individual here. And I'm just going to, I have no idea, Darcy. I have no idea what to do. What am I supposed to, I thought all I had to do was like just do a really good job and then the patients would come in. And then
Yeah.
other than that, people said all I need to do is like on Instagram, like show people what I'm eating and like wear skimpy clothes and then they'll come in to see me. Like that works too, right? Like, what is this SEO stuff? Why do I even need it?
So there's two different kinds of camps there. Like when you're talking to the people that are just getting started, you have to say, are you just getting started in building a practice for yourself? Or are you kind of on the side positioning yourself while you're working for another chiropractor or another clinic to position yourself to go out on your own in a couple years, a couple months? Because those are kind of two different approaches. For the ones that are ready to go and they want to just start to build the business on their own, you need a Google business profile listing and you need a website. Your website, once you have the basics on your website of your homepage, your about page, before you go Instagram, try to go Instagram crazy and build an audience there, you need to have a page that lists your services, preferably your specific services. If you're just getting started and all you're offering is chiropractic adjustments, you haven't purchased a shockwave system, you're not doing anything specified, and you don't know which direction you're going to go, you still need the basic content on your website so that you're able to be found, your Google business profile listing, whether you're working out of a gym and renting a room and have your own suite number, or you have your own designated office. Now, something that's interesting is that when it comes to your Google business profile listing, which used to be called your Google My Business listing, which controls Google Maps and also helps with AI and Google, all the rankings and stuff, a doctor can have their own listing that is separate from the business listing. So if you are fresh and you're still maybe working with a clinic and later on down the road, you think, oh, I might go out on my own. I want to start building my audience. You can have your own individual listing to start to go ahead to get your name out there. You could technically build your own website that represents you as a brand. You could start with your Instagram. You could do all of those things, but you want to have a structured approach, ideally that showcases how you're unique and different. But when you're just getting started, you're not always that unique and different because you don't know which direction you're going to go. Are you going to end up partnering with some local sports team and go all in on sports? Or are you going to end up just meeting an audience that is going to drive the direction that you take? So you can start basic, but you have to start. You have to start by taking those actions, setting up a website, and that does not mean that you set up a cookie cutter website that has generic information, because just like you said with the vertical silo, that everybody's different, you can't just go to AI like ChatGPT and say, hey, build me a website, or hey, write a page of content, or write a website for me, because all it's going to do is take every other clinic out there, see what they're doing, and do the same thing for you,
That's
and
right.
you're never going to rank.
That's right. One more aside. So this will be inside baseball, how the sausage is made in the world of chiropractic. And when I say this, there are some listeners that will get this and understand what I'm saying. And if they listen to what you just said, it will propel, hey, ironically, no pun intended, propel them when they do make that jump from working in somebody's office to their own. And those are the folks that I'm talking to who are working as air quotes independent contractors, but they're actually being treated as associates inside of an office. So contractually, they're independent contractors, but really the owner of that clinic is treating them and running them like an employee. You absolutely, especially for, um, I would say even for like tax purposes, you absolutely do need your own website, your own place, your own location, and Google My Business, all that stuff demarcated. You need to stake out that real estate for yourself. When I was younger and I was an independent contractor who was being treated like an associate, this was the moment I knew I was being treated like an associate, was when I set up my own website, filled out my own Google My Business profile, and all those things. And the owner of the clinic had called me over for a drink one night. He said, "Hey, come on over, let's have some beers and talk." And I went in there and he's like, I just noticed you have a website. Yeah. Yeah, but you work in our practice. Like we have a website for you. This is going to confuse people that there's two different websites. Well, I'm an independent contractor. Well, yeah, but you work with us. You're like, yeah, but like, well, there's no yeah buts. If you want me to be on your website, not have my own, and not have my own business location placing and all that, fill out a W-2 and start paying those payroll taxes. And these are some of these things, these lines in the leverage for those that are listening that need to understand that not only is this a marketing thing, this is staking your place out in the world of chiropractic, um, in the world of business. Um, and it also delineates, don't think for a second that your accountant wouldn't ask you these questions and that the IRS wouldn't look at this like, oh, you're claiming that you're an independent contractor. Where's all your business stuff? These are the first places they would look.
I just want to add to that. If you are taking that initiative and you are setting up your own website, if you are setting up your own Google business profile listing, if you're using photos, make sure that you don't have it, you're not wearing the brand of any company that you're working
Yeah,
for, or really any brand, like, plain colored shirts, because that also, or if you're working with one clinic and think you're going to end up switching to another clinic a year or two later and might change the name of your YouTube channel or anything like that, make sure you're not wearing a logo or a label on your clothing.
that's right. That's right. Very good. That's excellent. So that's kind of like the first group, which is uh, the baby cubs, right?
Yeah.
And they're about to jump out into the wild. What about the lions that are already out there? What's a little
Well,
bit different for them?
can we go back to the baby cubs for a
Yeah, we
second? Because
always
there's
go
one
back
more
to
thing.
baby cubs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the biggest, quickest way to go is through partnership. So for those baby cubs, if they do have technically their own practice, they should strive for any kind of partnerships that they can form in the community. One, to grow the community involvement, help with local SEO, but also to quickly amplify and grow who they can target and have a niche and a group already ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now we can
But
talk about the
but
next group.
well the
Oh,
next
oh,
group
there's a but. Okay.
well the next group they they evolved beyond that a lot of times. So
Yeah.
there's a superpower in partnership, right?
Mhm.
These folks they drove so hard. They pushed. They developed their own practice without the benefit of the turbocharge of a partnership. They're also kind of like little ego monsters. Like there's pride in that. There's pride in building your own thing and not leveraging the community to do so, in so much that they're going to be um, a little more motivated to continue to drive on their own and not incorporate others into their venture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so they're a different animal, Darcy. They're a different. I know they're the same species, but they're just a different animal. They don't hunt in a pack anymore.
Yeah.
These lions out in the wild. So they do need a little bit of extra advice. They need a little bit of different um, direction. And now there's a new predator in the jungle called AI that they need to understand is hunting for them.
True.
Which is what we're
True.
really here to talk about is like how
Yeah.
AI kind of wraps up a an actual established practice owner and it changes the rules quite a bit.
You know, it does, but it doesn't. If we take the basic fundamentals of SEO, yes, we're seeing an evolution, but it only makes sense that we're seeing this evolution. I
Yeah.
take the example when voice search started, like before voice search started, people, if they wanted to know who the CEO of Facebook was, they would go to their computer and type CEO Facebook. Then voice search came along and now they're typing, who is the CEO of Facebook? Now we've got this evolution of AI. Somebody might not first stop at your website. They might go to AI and say, I am looking for a chiropractor in my area that specializes in shoulder pain and takes my specific insurance.
Yeah.
That's so different than ranking for a chiropractor near me. Are both still important? Yes. Is fundamentally having the amazing information on your website to help Google know, like, and trust you and pick you to showcase your information through AI? Yes. Is anybody who cares about shoulder pain and that you take their insurance going to look at your website and see, do they specialize in this? Do they actually take my insurance or call you? Yes, but does it make it easier for them to make the decision if AI can scan your website, scan Google Business Profile, scan other listings online and say, this is the trusted source I am telling you should go with?
Yeah, it's a big difference. It's
Yeah.
huge. What kind of things should a chiropractor look for and start to focus on when it comes to this I mean slight differentiation, but it's it's a it's a tighter funnel is what it really is.
It's a tighter funnel, but it's also more qualified leads from that angle, right? Like you're hopefully not going to be on the phone call being like, yeah, we're not a fit for you because they already know, like, and trust you,
Yeah.
hopefully. So it comes down to a couple things. We have to focus on problems, solutions, terminology, and questions and reviews. So we have the services or modalities that you offer. You need really great, high quality pages on your website dedicated to each of those specific modalities or services.
Not
And
just a
that
bullet
means
point list.
not just a bullet point list, not 300 words, not something that AI wrote for you that isn't going to give you any room to tread water because everybody else has the same generic stuff, but stuff that reflects your specific approach, that gives examples of conditions that each of those modalities treat, detailed information about what that looks like. We're seeing even like an increase. I know a lot of people are like shockwave, shockwave, shockwave. And
Yeah.
we're seeing like increase of people searching for that. And so if you offer shockwave and you just have a bullet point that says shockwave, you're not going to dominate AI the way that these other clinics that have like a really nice built out page on shockwave, that are getting video reviews, that are doing quality blog posts about specific things like how does shockwave help with elbow pain, like, the specific and the nitty gritty of it. So that kind of starts with your services and modalities. We have the conditions. What are you treating? What do you want to be known for? Having specific pages about that. The insurance is becoming so much more important than it was. And where clinics get this wrong is they're like, well, I like things to look pretty and simple.
Yeah.
I get that. You can put all those little pretty logos of the insurance companies, and yes, if you have the alt image text, Google can kind of see those. But we want that bullet pointed list. We want Google to, in AI solutions, to be able to say, oh, yep, this one takes Aetna. Let's suggest this one. Or flip side, if you don't accept insurance, we like to suggest that you do a really nice page on why you don't accept insurance, why that still makes you the premium choice above the quality of work that people would get if they chose somebody who does take insurance. So we've got like two options for that. So we've got your conditions, we've got your services, we've got your insurance, we need your process, we need information about your business, we need all of this quality content. That stuff sits on your website. Then we have your Google Business Profile listing, which we have to make sure is optimized, that you've got your services listed there, your business description is correct. And there's a shift here when it comes to reviews in your Google Business Profile listing. It used to be like, let's go get all the reviews we can get.
Right.
Preferred is see, if you have somebody leave a review on your Google Business Profile listing and Google sees specific words over and over, they associate those words with your business. So if you're asking somebody to leave a review and they say clean office, friendly staff over and over again, it's seeing clean and friendly as words associated with your business. If you ask somebody, will you please leave a review sharing what brought you in today and how your experience was? If somebody says, I came in with shoulder pain, got a chiropractic adjustment. I'm already feeling better. All of a sudden, we've got chiropractic adjustment. We've got shoulder pain. We've got feeling better. We've got words that are training AI and Google to associate those words with your business.
So
And if
yeah,
somebody's suffering from one of those things, shoulder pain, they're going to be like, oh, I can relate.
be sure to mention the shockwave in your
Be sure.
review.
Yeah.
The
Also,
shockwave
there,
was great.
the
I loved
shockwave
his
was great.
shockwave.
I loved the shockwave. Also there's a new study out that shows that if you're asking for reviews over the weekend, you're less likely to get the review or it's not going to be as good. So if you can just make a small adjustment in the system to the way that you're asking for reviews and how you're asking for them and when you're asking for them, you're going to see a difference.
Yeah, no one wants to lay around on the weekend by the pool giving reviews. That's
Right?
business matters. We do those during business hours.
Exactly.
All right. Okay. So there's plenty for folks to chew on right there just from that alone. But I know you got more.
I got more. Is there a specific question you have or just want me
Hmm.
to dive in?
I think I just want you to die. I want you to, yeah, just explode all over this podcast. Let it
Okay.
rip.
Okay. So one thing to consider is your overall online listings. We want to make sure that overall, if you've moved locations, if anybody was previously handling your accounts, that every listing online has your NAP, your name, your address, and your phone number listed correctly. We want to make sure if you're in the non-new era, maybe you've had team members that have come and gone from your office, that none of their doctor listings list your business. We've seen that be an issue before where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, this person left, or there's an old business that's still associated with our address. If so, on almost all of the listings, you can suggest an edit or say that that information is not correct and notify Google or whoever that that person's no longer at that address. So that's absolutely imperative. We have with your Google business profile listing, we need to make sure that your hours represented align with the hours listed on your website. And ideally, like you don't have like that little 1 hour, 2 hour break listed if you can get away with it,
Yeah.
because if somebody's searching between noon and 1 on their lunch break, you're not open, but your competition is, they might show up higher on Google Business Profile because they're open.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Like, why would you list your break?
Yeah, and I
What?
like to think of it, yeah, like my regular doctor says they're open from 8 to 6. Yes, they take a break. No, they don't take appointments openly throughout that whole period of time.
I mean, you're just whether it's your staff or you or some sort of AI scheduling agent, I guess, they're only really going to tell the patient what hours are, what times we have available.
Right. I wouldn't go crazy and say you're open 24 hours if you're not.
If I cut out early to go fishing on a Friday during the summertime and like I wouldn't have my staff say, no, he's out fishing.
Exactly.
Like we just don't have times available at 5 p.m.
Exactly.
Uh, so with this concept, particularly with the AI portion, let's say we have a provider who's moved a lot of places. Like I know quite a few chiropractors. Uh, they're like they're vagabonds. Like they move from not just office to office, but city to city and even state to state. Now, over a long enough time period, would that at this juncture, because everything can change at any moment with AI, right? But like, does that punish them somehow? If I've got like a buddy who's had 5 different offices in 8 years in 3 different states, is that going to be an issue especially if they don't clean up all the NAP stuff? But is
It's
that something that could be potentially punishing?
it can be potentially punishing. Well, one, you're not having the community involvement. You're not having local links coming into your website. You're not establishing yourself in that community the way that somebody next to you could have been for the past 8 years. So you've got that
Yeah,
working against
yeah,
you. And if your website from 8 years, for 3 years, it said you were located in Knoxville, then said you were located in Bluetown and then Redville, like it can be confusing. And so I get it. Like I get life changes and
yeah.
things change and you might need to move locations or might want to move locations. But you do have to keep that in mind and make sure that you have all of your citations cleaned up with your online listings and that you're taking the right actions to make sure that you are relevant with your current location.
Well, this only exacerbates advice I've been given for like decades now, at least. I mean, I've always told young chiropractors, make sure you know where you want to live and where you want to practice. And when you go there, stay there
You know, it's also interesting if
and get
you
involved, right?
and get involved, but also keep in mind, like, what is your long-term plan? If your long-term plan is to sell the company, don't name it after yourself. If your plan,
I think I invented that advice. Like, what are you guys doing?
what are
And they
you
still
doing?
don't,
Yeah.
they don't, once again, I told you, Darcy, they're little ego monsters. I gotta name this thing after myself because I am awesome. I'm never
Yeah.
selling. It's like the Wolf of Wall Street. I ain't leaving.
Until they get tired and they're like, how do I get rid of this as quickly as possible?
Sometimes it does start to hurt. It starts to hurt your body at some point. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're going to have other people step in and assist you, same goes for naming. And there's a couple elements to that. Like it used to be, you got a bigger reward, I would say, on Google if you're a chiropractic clinic and you were in Louisville and you were called Louisville Chiropractic. It
Right.
used to be a little easier. Now, I think that they're with the way we're headed with AI, that those people aren't going to get the quick win that they used to get a couple years ago. Maybe
Yeah.
they're not seeing as much of an effect right now, but they will.
Do you remember even before that? Do you remember phone books?
Yeah.
And like everyone would name they want to be at the top of the
Tops
yellow
of the,
pages. So
yeah.
all their business names were like advanced chiropractic, of course, was like a classic, accurate and advanced chiropractic. I my first ever job, this guy had them all beat. The name of his practice was AAA Advanced Chiropractic.
Beat them all.
Doing business as something else, right? But
Yeah. Right? You know, it's interesting because I keep hearing people bring up the good old yellow book. The yellow
yeah.
book, the yellow pages online, check your listing on there because
Oh, interesting.
that, I think it's Bing and something else. There's one of the AI sources that looks at that. I'm not saying they weigh it like super heavy, but
Right.
if you're going to go in and look at what your listings are like, look at that one. It's not one anybody really pays as much attention to as they should.
Do you think our forward-thinking chiropractic alliance listing map is weighed at all in there? Forwardthinkingchiro.com and the
So
members have a membership map where they can list their own practice.
a lot of listings of that kind help out. Now, what I would not suggest is to just go out and
And
get listings for the
right.
sake of listings. You're talking about a specific industry listing, right? That's different than just like, oh, I got put on Joe Schmo's website listing.
Right.
So, yes, industry listings like that are great.
Well, it's interesting because I always give them the advice when they fill out the profile for their map listing and all that to be as specific as they possibly can with what kind of techniques they use, what insurances they take, and all that. And very few actually do. So I wonder if they actually do in their real listing world as well. You know what I mean? Like Google
Not
My
only,
Business website.
yeah, not only do they not, they use the wrong words. So we need to make sure that we're using the words our audience is using. So you need chiropractor or chiropractors, you need chiropractic. Spinal alignment is great, but if somebody's searching for a chiropractor, they're not searching spinal alignment, they're searching the word chiropractor. So we need to use the words that they're
Oh, how
using.
dare you? Now this one is going to make so many evidence-based chiropractors sad. I know three people I can envision right now over their keyboard. Well, they wishing they could type something to you because they're sad. Because there are so many evidence-based chiropractors that don't even want to use the word. They want to be considered a sports rehab specialist. They're so hurt about the history of chiropractic that they don't even want to incorporate the word unless they have to, unless they legally have to in their in all descriptions. Because and a lot of these folks were actually coached this way, right? Like you don't want to be considered one of the
One of those.
average one of those
Right. Yeah.
chiropractors. So you need to use language in your website and in your marketing and on social media that differentiates you. So now you're going to use completely odd language that an aggregator or AI or anything like that would not identify with chiropractic.
I see that oftentimes, and I think that there's a way to blend it.
Right,
The same thing honestly goes for story brand,
right.
where it's like story brand, for example, and I did a complete episode on the Clinic Marketing podcast about this, about how to merge it with SEO, because a lot of marketing systems, like you're talking about with Way Evidence-Based for Trained or story brand, they're taught to do marketing a certain way. And while it's amazing, it just doesn't take into account findability. It takes into account communication, but before we're going to say, look at all this, we got to get people to you to look at what you do. So we've got to make sure that we're tackling both ends.
So it's like, I'm a chiropractor, but is the sentence not, I'm doing all this stuff, but I'm a chiropractor. Does that make sense?
Or it's and
In the
instead of
language, yes.
but. Yeah.
And would be the
Specializing.
best, yes. And would be the best way to approach it.
And would be the and or specializing is the
I
best
do this
better
thing
way.
and I'm a chiropractor, or I'm a
Hmm.
chiropractor and I do this thing is the language you want to utilize.
Yeah, I like that.
You've got a sassy way of looking at things, Darcy. Probably much more optimistic and positive than me, I gotta tell you. I'm the realist, right? I'm the realist and the systems guy. So
You sure are.
what else you got though?
What else do I have? Well, we talked about listings, we talked about reviews, we talked about content. Um, I do have just a couple other comments regarding AI. Um, one, obviously, we talked about don't use it to have it draft out all of your content.
Yes, please.
Two, we have to be careful because sometimes people turn to AI or like an AI tester to see how they rank and how they can improve things. So if you were to go to like ChatGPT and you were to say, "Hey, can you look at my website and tell me how I can improve it?" I can't tell you how many messages I get from chiropractors being like, I put my website in ChatGPT and said, "Hey, how can I improve this?" And this is what it told me to do. When you ask ChatGPT or any of those solutions a question like that, all it does is it goes out into the world and it takes all these pieces of information, the good, the bad, the really bad, and the really, 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 really bad information out there. It combines them
Yeah.
together and then sends you that information. So it's giving you vague information that doesn't relate to you specifically. It's giving you generic information, and sometimes it's even giving you wrong information. And I've seen like people have sent me these AI scans that are like, oh, we'll scan your website for free and tell you how you can rank better in AI. And then I'm going through these and I'm like, okay, well, point A is okay. Point B, yeah. Point C, if you were a restaurant but you're a clinic, that doesn't make any sense for you. This one doesn't really relate to you. Why would you waste your time on this? This will move the needle, but so small that why would you pay somebody to help you with it? So we're at this stage where everybody wants to use AI, everybody wants to leverage AI, but you have to be careful the way and how you do it. Otherwise, it's going to end up harming you more than it's going to end up helping you.
I try to run my own internal authenticator.
I
But
like
what I
that.
mean by that is like it'll shoot something back to me and I'll be like, but is this authentic to me? I mean, even if it's right, would I still do it?
Yeah.
And I think also, I mean, these like Grok, Chat GPT, Claude, whatever, the ones that are just talking back to you, like it's like uh they're becoming these personal therapists slash friend slash business advisor. They're becoming this little sidekick, right? And if you can't prompt your sidekick to be like, look, this is who I am, and I would never do that, You just told me to set up a subluxation screening station at the mall as a good business building. I would never do that. Don't ever suggest that ever again. Oh, Bobby, I understand. They start talking in their
Yeah.
feely thing. Like, and don't talk to me in your feely, you're not Dr. Phil. Like, you're not even alive. You're not, like, I want you to communicate in a very specific fashion. I want you to know that I behave a very specific way. And that's the way I want you to go out and look at the world as I would go out and look at the world. I don't think most people are going to do that. So you're probably going to get garbage in, garbage out based on the prompts. And
Absolutely.
if you completely just trust it
So
without
good.
your own internal authenticator, I think you're going to have issues as well, for sure.
And there's ways to do it. There's ways to say, like, completely different than saying, "Hey, AI, write a blog post for me," is going, "Hey, AI, I recorded this video. Here's the transcript of this video. This video ties into services that I want to recommend for a client that include shockwave, chiropractic adjustments, dry needling, this, and this," and saying, "Help me create a blog post from that that sounds like the text on my website, which is this website." And then you go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. That is very different. And giving it your style, your voice guide, your style guide, examples of your writing style, and you're pulling from a transcript that are your words, and you're saying, "Help me articulate this better."
Yes. Yeah.
That's completely different than saying, "Write a blog post for me."
I think if anything, that's the one thing AI has helped me do is articulate all this
Yeah,
madness in my head better.
right.
But trying to use it just rote, like, hey, like it's my own personal assistant. That's kind of rough sometimes when it comes to the creative side of things. And I think what you're putting on your website, how you market yourself, social media, all that, like that's got to be some sort of expression of you and your own personality at this point.
Absolutely. Like if I see one more chiropractor do a social media post that's like, "Drink more water."
It's there's this is boring. Like when like Joe Rogan was crapping all over chiropractors, which I had written a thing about it. Like everyone wanted to go on the Joe Rogan show to defend chiropractic, and someone had suggested to me like, what if you did it? What would you say? I think it was just a buddy of mine. We were watching a baseball game. Like, I wouldn't with Joe Rogan, I wouldn't say anything. Like this is the most boring topic in the world. Of all the things you could talk about in the universe to talk about chiropractic for 2 hours, what are you gonna like? How many ads can you possibly make? I know
You
there's a
know
lot
who's
of
going to be listening? Chiropractors to that episode. And
yeah,
that's
and that's
probably,
it. And then they're gonna be like, you said it wrong, and you didn't mention this part. And what about shockwave? You didn't say shockwave 20 times. You didn't mention which EHR you use. And it's you weren't pure enough. Like it's such a boring topic. Like just do a good job and express yourself within that professionalism. Um, oh man, yeah. Yeah, this isn't like how many I know there's a lot of pressure to create a lot of content. Like I also am trying to be respectful of the world that somebody who's got to build a practice lives in. Like that aren't, they don't have what you would call like a passive patient base that just comes in because you've been there for years and they're there. They have to build something from nothing. And I mean, I try to be compassionate about like they're trying and they've probably heard from somewhere, maybe even AI told them they have to make 5 Instagram posts a day or so. And you could just see them like searching for content, like, here's what I wore to the office today. And like just trying to make comedy sketches and whatever it takes to get attention. Like, you don't have to do this.
no, I think that, and that goes into knowing your numbers, knowing, you know, if your Instagram posts are just sitting there and nobody's clicking through to book an
Like
appointment,
if they have to work, yeah.
or, did you write a couple really great blog posts that are really driving traffic to your website? Also, I always say, like, put SEO at the center of your marketing plan, because if you do that, you create great content, then you've got content to push via social media. You've got content to push via your email marketing campaigns. You've got content that's driving traffic to your website. And so all of those things should be working together.
Yeah. And then here's kind of to bring it to the finish line. I think I think on some levels, some avenues of quote unquote coaching because of AI are in trouble. And I think it's good. I think there for a long time there have been coaches, and I'm of course speaking mostly in the chiropractic world, not in general business all the time, even though general chiropractic is general business when you break it down. There have been a lot of chiropractic coaches that have high dollar amounted general information. Although they put a paywall behind general information. Of course, when we started the Forward Thinking Chiropractic Alliance, the idea was that we were going to democratize general information that you can get from community members, right?
Right.
And I think the paywall behind general information that anyone could learn if they wanted to and they put the effort into learning is up against the ropes and might be dead with AI because AI can give you general information.
It can.
However, there are things that AI cannot do. One, AI cannot do community. Hey, who's got the community? FTCA, what's up? AI can't do that community for you. Uh, B, there are more nuanced, specific, um, and higher level coaching items that AI just cannot do for somebody. And I think this is where the coaching, the true coaching, the real coaching, the good stuff is going to shine because um, a generalist can't touch it. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
So
They
that
don't have
lead
that world experience.
right, right. That thing keeps calling me, Bobby. You don't. It's a, I, I asked like my some family member was having an issue and my AI, the chat GPT was like, well, I know exactly how you feel, Bobby. When I talk to others about this, I'm like, what do you do? You don't feel you're not talking to other people. Just communicate with me. But anyways, um, that leads me to this thing, which is, and it's a question I love to ask, and I probably even asked you in our last podcast. Like, it comes from that old movie Office Space. What would you say you actually do around here, Darcy? What do you do for people here?
What we do is we help chiropractors and other clinic owners get found online in a way that is authentic, that showcases their voice, their specific offerings, who they are. As we know, Google is a very crowded space right now, AI crowded space. So we like to help the clients that we work with set them up for success for ranking with their Google business profile, their website, and now in AI searches.
Nice. Let me ask you this about chiropractors since you work with so many of them. That that question of who they are, how hard is it? Do they show up knowing who they are, or is there a little element there where you have to try to get that out of them?
We have a round of questions that we ask them. Like, do you like to go by doctor first name? Do you like to go by full name? Is it that you're a chiropractic team or is it just you? Do you say that you cure cancer or are there any things that you avoid completely? Like you don't want to do any PI work? Do you gear towards the gentle side of things? Do you like evidence-based wording? A lot of chiropractors either are like, I want evidence-based wording all over my website.
Yeah.
It's who I
Yeah.
identify as, or they're like, no, I don't because that's not actually a term people are specifically searching for. That's more industry specific. So we ask all these questions so that we know how to help represent them in a way that's going to help make them stand out. And oftentimes it's interesting because I'll get on a phone call with a chiropractor, like if we're doing a discovery call or if we're starting to work together, I ask them some of these questions and they're like, huh, I've never thought about that before. And we're like, you got to think
Exactly.
about it.
That's why I asked you the question. I wanted to
Yeah.
confirm. But they just go, sports. I do sports.
I do.
I got a shockwave and I do sports. Hey, they're my these. I love these people, so I get to make fun of them. Like they're so well intentioned that sometimes they don't, and they work hard. Like
Oh, yeah.
they're that's the problem is they're always working. Like they're always work. It's always working in the business, not on the business, right?
Right.
It's like time to reflect and think. Like these guys can barely find time to breathe and get a vacation in, let alone reflect and think about what their business means and what it is. I mean, the pressure to get a practice started and then to maintain it, which is the reason why they have such big egos. It's like it's not easy, and once you get there, you're pretty unique in that factor. Like not everybody makes it. So when I'm making fun of y'all listeners, it's tongue in cheek. It's because I love you. It's all good. And most of them get that.
Yeah.
The rest of them, they do have big egos. They'll get offended. He said I don't know how to do I just do sports. Whatever. Um, if people wanted to reach out to your team, what's the best way for them to do that?
So,
What's the
yeah.
best way for them to get started?
Yeah, so they can visit propelyourcompany.com, and that is Propel with just one L. I'll give you the link to add to the show notes. And they can book a discovery call. There's free trainings on there. There's tons of resources. The easiest way is just to book a discovery call. We can have a conversation, talk about where we see the best opportunities for you for growth when it comes to your online positioning strategy.
Actually, this is the most important question here, and that is how do they know they should get started? Like, what are the objective signs and symptoms of, oh my goodness, I need help?
So there's a couple different ones. One, you're just getting started and you haven't put any time and energy into it. Two, you were one of the companies that was floating, just doing fine until AI and some other things came along, and all of a sudden you've seen a major drop in your web, not just your website traffic, but just the number of patients that are coming in, or you are ready to bring on an associate, you want to see improvement, or you just want to take the best route to growing your practice, or if you're planning on selling your practice in a couple of years and you want it to be more valuable because you're selling your online reputation when you sell your company. So, really, everyone.
There you go. That's awesome. Um, yeah, we haven't podcasted enough together. We
I
do get to
know.
meet soon. This is
I know.
we're going to blow out the evergreen portion of this podcast, saying we're going to meet soon at Thrive in Atlanta in 2027. And we do intend Thrive to be a thing. So it's not just a one-off, one-year thing. So we love having you in our family, Modern Chiropractic Marketing, Forward Thinking Chiropractic Alliance, and part of that family as well as the Motion Palpation Institute. So uh, we'll get to meet in person soon.
So exciting.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All righty.